When he won the Oscar for Best Actor, I sent him my congratulations, but he did not reply.
Because when a woman finds a good one, then that's what you're looking for. But I will say that she's young still, you know what I mean? And I too was looking forward to them making it, because I thought, oh, you know what? She's been looking for someone to keep on her arm, to be able to have a relationship with that is meaningful and that's successful, because we know that the girl gonna keep her somebody that is gonna be newsworthy, you know. But I think,
damn, Lisa Ray.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, she ain't no.
Stop what you're doing right now and lean in close, because the Harvey household isn't just shaking, it is officially in a state of absolute nuclear meltdown. We all saw it, right? Michael B. Jordan, the man they said would never reach the pinnacle, standing on that stage with a glittering gold Oscar in his hand, looking like the ultimate one that got away. But while the world was cheering, a secret war was being waged behind the gates of the Harvey estate. Have you ever wondered what happens when a calculated move turns into the biggest backfire in Hollywood history? Well, the wait is over. Because Brandy Harvey, yes, Steve's eldest, the one who doesn't play by Marjorie's rules, just hit the publish button on the tea of the century. We are talking about leaked reactions, tear-stained pillows, and a level of regret so thick you could cut it with a knife. Was Lori Harvey actually living her best life, or was that all just a carefully curated Instagram lie to hide the fact that she's been spiraling ever since MBJ stopped picking up the phone? The rumors are screaming that she tried to reach out to him during his big moment, and the response she got was colder than an Antarctic winter. Is this the moment the IT girl finally lost her crown? Did she really fumble a literal king for a temporary vibe? Get ready, because we are diving deep into the hidden messages, the family betrayal, and the shocking exposure that Brandy just dropped on our laps. You won't believe what was happening behind those closed doors while the Oscar cameras were rolling. Now let us get into the meat of this absolute disaster, because the atmosphere surrounding the Harvey family right now is nothing short of suffocating. You have to understand that in the world of high-stakes celebrity branding, everything is a chess move, and for years Marjorie Harvey has been the grandmaster, teaching Lori exactly how to slide across the board without ever getting trapped. But then came Michael B. Jordan, and for the first time it looked like the game was over, because they had found the ultimate prize. We are talking about a man who wasn't just another rapper or a flavor of the month athlete, but a literal Hollywood pillar with a reputation as clean as a whistle and a career trajectory that was heading straight for the moon. The controversy started the very second that breakup news hit the wires back in 2022, and the public has been suspicious ever since, because the math just never added up. Why would a woman who supposedly wants a meaningful, successful relationship walk away from a man who was literally offering her the world on a silver platter? The narrative they tried to push was that she wanted her freedom and that she was too young to be tied down, but everyone with a brain knew there was more to the story. People started pointing fingers at the influence of Marjorie and the way the family operates like a PR machine that values the hunt more than the actual catch. But fast forward to 2026 and the world has completely changed, because Michael didn't just move on, he ascended to a level of stardom that makes his past life look like a rehearsal. When he won that Best Actor Oscar, it wasn't just a win for him, it was a massive flashing neon sign pointed directly at Lori Harvey, reminding her of exactly what she walked away from. And that is where our investigative findings begin, because according to sources that have been hovering around the Harvey camp for years, the tension between the biological Harvey children and the adopted side has finally reached a breaking point. Brandy Harvey has always been the one who stayed in the shadows while Lori occupied the spotlight, but insiders claim she has had enough of the facade. The word on the street is that Brandy has been quietly sharing details with a select group of people about how the house really felt on Oscar night, and it is nothing like the polished images we see on social media. While Lori was posting outfit checks and looking unbothered, the reality behind those mansion walls was reportedly a scene of pure chaos and desperation, because the realization finally hit home that Michael B. Jordan is now officially untouchable. We have received leaked reports from anonymous household staff who claim that the night of the Academy Awards was one of the most stressful evenings in the history of the Harvey estate. There were whispers of late-night hushed conversations between Marjorie and Lori, where they were allegedly trying to figure out a way to re-enter Michael's orbit without looking desperate. Imagine the scene of a woman who is used to every man bowing at her feet suddenly realizing that the one man who actually mattered has blocked her path and deleted her number. The public reaction to these leaks has been absolutely brutal because the internet never forgets, and it certainly never forgives a perceived fumble of this magnitude. People are calling out the hypocrisy of the date on your own terms mantra when it leads to losing a generational talent like Michael. The comments sections are flooded with fans pointing out that while Lori is still cycling through trendy relationships, Michael is out here making history and becoming a permanent part of Hollywood royalty. It is the ultimate case of choosing a temporary spark over a permanent flame, and the backlash is starting to affect the way people view the entire Harvey brand. Our investigative team has looked into the past incidents that set the stage for this bad reputation, and it always comes back to the same pattern of behavior. There is a long history of high-profile men entering that family circle only to be chewed up and spit out once the PR value has been drained. But Michael was different because he had his own power and his own legacy, which meant he didn't need the Harvey name to stay relevant. When he left, he took all that prestige with him, and now that he has the Oscar, it's like he took the last bit of oxygen out of the room for anyone trying to stay famous just for being famous. The reports of Lori's reaction are becoming more detailed by the hour, with some claims suggesting that she sent a series of increasingly frantic messages to Michael's team trying to secure an invite to the after parties. Can you imagine the audacity of trying to slide back into the VIP section after you were the one who pulled the plug? Anonymous sources say Michael's inner circle has been laughing off these attempts because they remember exactly how he was treated when the breakup first happened. They remember the rumors and the shade, and they are making sure that the door remains locked and bolted. The investigative findings also suggest that there has been a massive amount of image-saving spending happening behind the scenes to distract from this failure. We are talking about exaggerated luxury vacations and sudden high-fashion appearances that look suspiciously timed to coincide with Michael's press tours. It's a classic move from the Marjorie Harvey playbook, where if you are losing the narrative, you just spend more money and take more pictures until people forget. But an Oscar is a permanent trophy, and no amount of Birkin bags or private jets to Italy can compete with the prestige of being the best in the world at what you do. Public reactions have shifted from admiration to a sort of mocking pity because the narrative of the independent woman who doesn't need a man falls apart when everyone can see the cracks in the foundation. Fans are questioning why Steve Harvey has been so quiet lately compared to how much he used to praise Michael when they were together. It's as if the entire family is trying to distance themselves from a man they once claimed to love like a son because his success is now a direct indictment of their daughter's decision-making skills. There are even whispers of a secret recovery plan being drafted by the family's PR team to try and link Lori to an even bigger star, but the problem is that there aren't many stars bigger than Michael B. Jordan right now. Every time she steps out with someone new, the comparison is immediate and devastating. The investigative reports claim that the tension within the family is so high that Brandy and Carly have been avoiding family dinners altogether just to stay away from the toxic energy that has taken over since Michael's win became a reality. The details of the alleged corruption of the narrative are truly shocking because it shows how far a family will go to protect their pride. There are claims that fake stories were planted in smaller tabloids to make it seem like Michael was the one begging for a second chance months ago, just so that when he won the Oscar they could claim they were the ones who moved on. But those stories never gained traction because the public saw Michael moving with grace and focus while the other side seemed to be chasing every camera lens in sight. As we look at the breakdown of this scandal, it becomes clear that this isn't just about a breakup anymore, but about the fall of a social dynasty. The Harvey family has built their reputation on being the ultimate examples of black excellence and success, but this situation makes them look petty and reactionary. The public is eating up every bit of information that Brandy is allegedly leaking because it confirms what everyone suspected, that the perfect family is actually struggling with some very real and very ugly jealousies. The investigative reports also highlight the abuse of power within the social media space, where certain influencers were allegedly paid to push the Lori is winning narrative even when she was clearly taking losses. But you can't pay the entire internet to ignore an Oscar win, and you certainly can't pay people to stop noticing that Michael B. Jordan is living his best life without a single look back. The detail of Lori crying into a pillow while Marjorie tries to console her might sound like something out of a movie, but in the world of high-stakes celebrity ego, it is a very believable reality. The public is now waiting for the next move because they know that a family this obsessed with image cannot stay quiet for long. They are expecting some sort of major announcement or a sudden engagement to someone else just to try and steal the headlines back from Michael. But the investigative findings suggest that the internal fallout is so bad that they might not be able to pull off a coordinated move anytime soon. Brandy Harvey's decision to reportedly spill the tea has created a rift that money might not be able to fix, and the world is watching every single crack as it widens. The investigative team has also uncovered evidence of past contractual rumors that suggest some of these celebrity relationships were more about business than love, which adds another layer of cynicism to the whole situation. If the relationship with Michael was partly about elevating Lori's profile, then the breakup was a massive business failure that has cost the family millions in potential branding and partnerships. This isn't just a broken heart, it's a broken business model, and that is why the panic in the Harvey household is so palpable right now. People are dissecting every single Instagram caption and every single background detail in Lori's photos, looking for signs of the struggle that Brandy has allegedly exposed. The public reaction is a mix of "I told you so" and a fascination with the downfall of a woman who seemed untouchable. The narrative has shifted from Lori being the prize to Michael being the one who escaped a trap, and that shift is the most dangerous thing that could happen to a brand built on being desirable and exclusive. The investigative findings conclude this section by noting that the rumors of Michael ignoring Lori's call have been confirmed by multiple sources close to his camp. He isn't interested in a friendly relationship or a respectful congratulations because he knows exactly what the game is. He has reached a level where he no longer has to play along with the Harvey PR machine, and that independence is the ultimate power move that has left the entire family reeling in his wake as we prepare to look at the fallout of this massive social explosion. The fallout from this social explosion has moved far beyond the walls of a single mansion and into the territory of a full-scale reputational crisis for the Harvey brand. As we move into this second phase of our investigation, we have to look at the legal and financial ripples that are starting to form, because in the world of the elite, a loss of social standing is often followed by a loss of cold, hard cash. There are whispers coming out of major talent agencies that certain luxury brands which were once desperate to sign Lori are now hesitating because they don't want to be associated with a fumble narrative. The aura of that girl depends entirely on her being perceived as the one who makes the moves, not the one who is left behind crying into a pillow while her ex-boyfriend makes history on the world stage. Our investigative team has been digging into the hypothetical consequences of this shift, and the findings are staggering. Internal sources suggest that there are currently high-level meetings happening between PR crisis managers and the Harvey family to discuss how to handle the Brandy leak. If Brandy Harvey truly has decided to stop playing the role of the supportive sister, the amount of damaging information she could release is enough to trigger multiple investigations into the family's business dealings. There is talk of potential probes into how certain brand deals were secured and whether the influencer metrics being presented to partners were as authentic as they claimed to be. When the family unity breaks, the skeletons in the closet start knocking on the door, and right now, that knocking is getting louder. The public backlash has reached a fever pitch, with the hashtag Michael's Revenge trending for days on end. This isn't just about fans being happy for Michael, it's about a collective societal reaction to what people perceive as the ultimate arrogance of a socialite dynasty. The internet is flooded with memes and video essays dissecting the Harvey playbook, and for the first time, the public is seeing the strings behind the puppets. People are questioning the validity of every past relationship Lori has had, wondering if they were all just stepping stones that were supposed to lead to a throne that Michael B. Jordan eventually built for himself, alone. This kind of public scrutiny is toxic for a brand that relies on the illusion of effortless perfection and organic romance. We are also hearing chatter about hypothetical resignations from the Harvey inner circle. Reports indicate that several longtime assistants and social media managers are looking for the exit because they don't want to be caught in the crossfire of a family war. There is a sense of a sinking ship among the staff who have witnessed the tension between the biological and adopted siblings firsthand. According to anonymous sources, the atmosphere in the office is one of paranoia, with everyone being forced to sign new, even more restrictive non-disclosure agreements to prevent any more Brandy-style leaks from reaching the press. But as we know, once the tea starts spilling, no amount of legal paperwork can truly stop the flood. The financial crisis within the brand is perhaps the most shocking part of this investigative breakdown. It's no secret that the Harvey lifestyle requires an enormous amount of consistent cash flow to maintain. Private jets, designer wardrobes, and global vacations aren't cheap, and a large portion of that income is tied to Lori's status as a top-tier influencer and brand ambassador. If the public starts to view her as yesterday's news or as a regretful ex, her market value drops significantly. We have received unconfirmed reports that at least 2 major fashion houses have paused negotiations on upcoming collections because they are waiting to see if the Harvey name can survive this wave of negative publicity. This is a potential financial disaster that could force a massive scale back in their public lifestyle. Let's talk about the alleged abuse of power in the media space during this fallout. Our team has discovered that there were attempts to bury the story of Michael ignoring Lori's call by flooding the internet with fake rumors about a new, even more famous suitor. There were whispers of a secret billionaire or a European prince being interested in Lori, but the public didn't bite. The investigative findings show that these stories were likely planted by the same PR firms that have been protecting the family for years. However, in the age of decentralized media, you can't just kill a story with a few phone calls to magazine editors. The people on TikTok and YouTube are the ones controlling the narrative now, and they are firmly on the side of the Oscar winner. The consequences for Steve Harvey himself are also starting to manifest in interesting ways. As a man who has built a multi-million-dollar empire on giving relationship advice, the fact that his own household is in such disarray is a massive blow to his professional credibility. How can you tell the world how to act like a lady, think like a man when your own daughter is being accused of the biggest relationship fumble in the history of the culture? Critics are coming out of the woodwork to point out the irony, and there are even suggestions that his future television projects could face a probe by network executives who are worried about his declining relatability among younger audiences. The detail of the pillow crying incident that Brandy allegedly exposed has become a symbol for the entire fallout. It represents the moment the mask slipped. The investigation into public reactions shows that people are actually find this vulnerability satisfying in a dark way because it humanizes someone who has always acted as if she were above the emotions of regular people. But for the Harvey brand, being human and vulnerable is a weakness. They sell the dream of being untouchable, and once that dream is proven to be a lie, the customers, or in this case, the fans and the brands, start looking for a new dream to buy into. There are even rumors of hypothetical legal actions being considered by the family against Brandy for defamation or breach of family privacy. Can you imagine a father suing his own daughter to protect the image of his stepdaughter? That is the level of drama we are hearing about behind the scenes. If these legal threats are real, it would confirm that the Harvey family is in a state of total desperation. A lawsuit would bring even more attention to the very leaks they are trying to suppress, creating a Streisand effect that would ensure the story never dies. The fallout is no longer just a bad week, it is a systemic failure of the Harvey family structure. The investigative findings also suggest that Michael B. Jordan's team is aware of the chaos and is deliberately staying silent to let the Harveys destroy their own reputation. By not responding, Michael is asserting a level of dominance that is driving the other side crazy. He is essentially saying that they are no longer worth his time or his words. This silence is a consequence that the Harveys never prepared for. They are used to being able to manipulate a back-and-forth conversation in the press, but when one side refuses to talk, the one who is talking looks increasingly unhinged and desperate. Public reactions are also turning toward Marjorie Harvey, with many accusing her of being the architect of this disaster. The narrative is that she pushed Lori to prioritize the brand over a real connection with a good man, and now that the brand is tarnished, the connection is gone forever. This is leading to a hypothetical probe by the public into Marjorie's own history and how she manages the family's social dynamics. The investigative findings here show a deep-seated resentment among fans who feel that Lori was groomed for a lifestyle that has ultimately left her unfulfilled and publicly mocked. As we look at the potential for financial crises, we have to consider the Harvey charity and business ventures that rely on public goodwill. If the family is seen as a group of mean girls and shade throwers who turn on their own members like Brandy, the donations and the business partnerships will dry up. We are seeing a massive shift in sentiment where people are choosing to support Michael's projects over anything the Harvey family puts out. The fallout is moving from social media comments to real-world economic impacts that could change the family's net worth by millions of dollars over the next fiscal year. The tension between the biological children and the adopted children is the ticking time bomb that is finally exploding. Brandy and Carly have reportedly felt sidelined for over a decade, and Michael's Oscar win was the catalyst they needed to finally speak their truth. Our investigation suggests that Brandy's exposure of Lori's reaction was a calculated move to reclaim her own voice within a family that has focused entirely on Lori's beauty and dating life. This is a consequence that Steve Harvey never saw coming, and it is one that he cannot simply fix by buying more expensive jewelry or taking everyone on another cruise. The public backlash is also taking a toll on Lori's mental health, according to sources close to her. While she tries to maintain the unbothered aesthetic, the constant barrage of negative comments and the loss of her perfect reputation is allegedly causing a lot of internal friction. There are reports that she is blaming her mother for the advice that led to the breakup, and there are whispers of hypothetical resignations from her own personal management team. When the person at the center of the brand starts to lose faith in the brand herself, the end is usually near. We are entering a period where the Harvey family will have to decide whether to double down on their current path or undergo a massive rebrand. But the investigative findings show that a rebrand might be impossible at this point because the damage is too deep. Michael B. Jordan didn't just win an Oscar, he exposed the emptiness of the lifestyle that the Harveys have been selling. The consequences are far-reaching, and they are only just beginning to settle as we move into the final part of this exposure to see exactly what the future holds for a dynasty that is currently hanging by a thread. The public is now calling for a tell-all from Brandy, and if that happens, it will be the final nail in the coffin. The investigation into public sentiment shows a massive appetite for the real story behind the Harveys' perfect life. People want to know the truth about the contracts, the PR moves, and the real feelings behind the shady Instagram posts. The tension is building toward a climax that will either see the Harvey family apologize and change their ways or be permanently relegated to the status of has-beens in a world that has moved on to more authentic stars like the man with the gold statue in his hand. The final chapter of this social disaster is now unfolding before our very eyes, and it is looking like the ultimate curtain call for the Harvey dynasty as we know it. As we move into this third and most explosive section of our investigation, we have to address the long-term fallout that is currently destroying any hope of a comeback for Lori and her team. This isn't just about a bad week in the news cycle anymore. This is about the total collapse of a social structure that was built on the shaky ground of superficiality and clout. The realization is finally setting in across the industry that while Michael B. Jordan was building a legacy that will last for generations, the Harveys were simply building a feed that can be deleted with a single click. Our investigative team has uncovered details of a high-level emergency meeting that allegedly took place at the Harvey estate just days after the Oscar ceremony. Sources claim that Steve was pacing the room while Marjorie and Lori sat in stunned silence as their lead publicist laid out the data. The data showed a catastrophic drop in engagement and a massive surge in negative sentiment across all platforms. People are no longer looking at Lori as a fashion icon. They are looking at her as a cautionary tale of what happens when you listen to the wrong people and let go of a soulmate for the sake of a vibe. This is the kind of reputational damage that no amount of money or damage control can fix. There are whispers of hypothetical legal actions being prepared not just against Brandy but against several whistleblowers who have started coming out of the woodwork. When a powerful family begins to lose its grip, the people they once stepped on start to find their courage. We are hearing reports that former employees are preparing to break their non-disclosure agreements to talk about the toxic environment and the calculated manipulation of the public image. If these reports turn into actual lawsuits or public testimonies, we are looking at a scandal that will make the Michael B. Jordan situation look like a minor misunderstanding. The consequences are moving from social media gossip to potential courtroom battles that could drain the family's resources. The public backlash has evolved into a full-scale rejection of the Harvey brand. On the streets and in the comment sections, the narrative has shifted toward a celebration of genuine excellence over manufactured fame. Fans are pointing out that Michael didn't need a famous family or a calculated dating history to get his Oscar. He needed talent and discipline. This realization is creating a massive financial crisis for the Harveys because their entire value proposition was built on being the gatekeepers of cool. If they are no longer perceived as cool, their influence is zero. We have confirmed reports that several major brand partnerships that were up for renewal have been tabled indefinitely. Let's talk about the hypothetical resignations that are reportedly happening within the family's business empire. It's not just the assistants. We are hearing that high-level consultants who have helped build the Harvey name are quietly distancing themselves. They see the writing on the wall and they don't want their professional reputations tied to a sinking ship. The investigative findings show that there is a deep sense of betrayal within the family, with Steve allegedly feeling like his reputation has been hijacked by the drama surrounding Lori and Marjorie. This internal friction is a consequence that is breaking the family apart from the inside out. The detail of the leaked reports regarding Brandy's involvement is perhaps the most damaging part of this entire saga. According to our anonymous sources, Brandy has been keeping a diary of events for years, documenting every time she felt sidelined or silenced. If she decides to release even a fraction of that information, it will be a nuclear event for the family. People are already calling her a hero for finally standing up and exposing the truth behind the perfect family facade. The public reaction is overwhelmingly in her favor, which makes it even harder for the family to silence her without looking like the villains of the story. The investigation into the abuse of power within the family's social circle has revealed some truly dark details. There are claims that Marjorie used her influence to blacklist anyone who spoke out against Lori in the past, but that power is gone now. The influencers and celebrities who once played along are now staying quiet or even making subtle jokes at the family's expense. This loss of social capital is a fallout that the Harveys never expected. They thought they were the ones who decided who was in and who was out, but the public has decided that it is the Harveys who are officially out. We are also looking at a potential government probe into the business side of their influencer empire. While this is currently hypothetical, there are whispers that the way certain brand deals and charitable contributions were handled is being looked at by experts who monitor digital marketing transparency. When you are under this much scrutiny, every little detail of your financial life gets picked apart. The investigative findings suggest that the Harveys are terrified of what might be found if someone starts looking too closely at the books. This fear is adding to the tension and anticipation that is currently hanging over the estate. The situation with Michael B. Jordan has also triggered a conversation about the commodification of relationships in the digital age. People are using the Harvey-Jordan breakup as a case study in how not to handle a high-profile romance. The public is tired of PR couples and they are rewarding Michael for his authenticity and his quiet strength. The fallout for Lori is that she has become the poster child for social climbing gone wrong, and that is a label that is very hard to wash off. Even if she dates a prince tomorrow, people will still remember her as the girl who cried into a pillow because she fumbled a king. The consequences for the blended family dynamic are also reaching a tragic peak. Steve Harvey has always been proud of his ability to bring everyone together, but this scandal has exposed the deep cracks in that foundation. The biological Harvey children are allegedly tired of being the background characters in the Lori and Marjorie show. The investigation into public reactions shows a lot of sympathy for Brandy and Carly, with fans demanding that Steve make it right by his first family. This is putting Steve in an impossible position where he has to choose between his wife's daughter and his own flesh and blood. The financial crisis is also affecting their lavish spending. Reports claim that the family has had to cancel several extravagant trips and events to avoid looking out of touch while the public is dragging them for their corruption of values. This scale back is being noticed by everyone, and it is only fueling the rumors that the money is starting to run dry as the brand deals disappear. The investigative findings conclude that without a massive change in behavior, the Harvey family could be facing a financial reset that will force them to live a much more modest life than the one they have been bragging about on Instagram. The public backlash is also manifesting in protests of sorts, with fans boycotting Lori's beauty products and Steve's shows. The metrics don't lie, and the numbers are trending downward in every category. This is a consequence of the public feeling lied to and manipulated for years. They are tired of the Harvey rules and they are creating their own rules now. The investigative reports suggest that the family is in a state of pure panic, trying to find someone else to blame for the disaster that they created themselves. As we reach the conclusion of this investigative breakdown, we have to look at the shock factor of how far they have fallen. From being the most admired family in the culture to being the subject of mocking video essays and investigative exposes, the journey has been swift and brutal. Brandy Harvey's decision to expose the truth was the spark that lit the fire, but the family provided all the fuel with their own arrogance and lack of authenticity. The fallout is total, and the consequences are permanent. The investigation ends with a look at Michael B. Jordan, who is currently the most sought-after man in the world. He is living proof that living well is the best revenge. He doesn't need to post shade, he doesn't need to leak stories, he just needs to keep being the best version of himself. The Harvey family, on the other hand, is left with a tarnished name, a fractured home, and a legacy of what-ifs. This is the ultimate truth that we are exposing today. In the end, character always outlasts clout. The tension is still building as we wait to see if the Harveys will try one last Hail Mary to save their reputation, but the public is ready for it. Every move they make from here on out will be scrutinized, analyzed, and likely rejected by a world that has finally seen behind the curtain. The Brandy Harvey expose was just the beginning. The real story is how a dynasty destroyed itself from within by forgetting that at the end of the day, people value real talent over a filtered photo. This is the kind of story that changes the way we look at celebrity culture forever. We have laid out the investigative findings, the leaked reports, and the public reactions that show the total collapse of the Harvey brand. But now, we want to hear from you, the people who actually decide who stays famous and who fades away. Was this the ultimate fumble of all time? Do you think Brandy Harvey was right to expose the family secrets, or did she go too far in her quest for the truth? Is there any way back for Lori Harvey, or has Michael B. Jordan officially closed that chapter for good with his historic Oscar win? The world is watching, and the truth is finally out in the open. Make sure you hit that like button if you appreciate real investigative journalism that isn't afraid to dig into the high-stakes world of Hollywood power players. Comment below with your truth about this situation. We want to know exactly whose side you're on in this war of the Harveys. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those notifications, because the next update is going to be even more shocking than this one. The exposure doesn't stop here. Stay tuned for the real truth.